Welcome to Mike Henry Golf. So today is a club review of two irons. So we have got the Mizuno Pro 225 and the TaylorMade Stealth. So I picked these two out. One is to review how they perform in general, and two is to cover when you've got that decision to make to go from that big cavity forgiving club, i.e. the TaylorMade Stealth, or you're going to go for a more bladed looking playable club, the Mizuno Pro 225. So it's very difficult. I've had some people that have made that crossover, that as you say, upgrade to that, say, slightly better players club, and then suddenly they've lost a tremendous amount of ball speed, power, distance, and then it's, there's a lot of pressure then to try and regain that original distance you have, and they haven't really much benefit from, say, the more playable club. So I picked up these two clubs because the TaylorMade is a really powerful cavity, and the Mizuno Pro 4 iron, the 225, is the most forgiving one of that Pro selection. So this should be quite interesting. We'll see how they perform on an individual basis, and we'll see if there's a big jump from one category to the next. Right, so the first iron we're going to do is the Mizuno Pro 225. And as you expect from the Mizuno, I think it looks the absolute business. And it's jam-packed with technology, like I said, as you'd expect. So as you can see in the screen there, that gives you all the details. The difference between lofts between the Mizuno is 2 degrees, so the Taylor is 28 and this one is 30. This one obviously looks slightly better behind the ball, so it's got a thinner top leading edge, which in that category you would expect that, but it's not too intimidating. It doesn't look, it still has that forgiveness look about it, so that's quite good. It just depends what it feels off the club face. I'm going to hit, I've set the flag, I've got 7 iron, I've set the flag at 160 yards, which is around where I hit the 7 iron, so around 155 to 160. So, not a massive distance kind of thing, but hopefully it's relatable and to most of the people watching this video. So let's see how it feels off the club face, what numbers it produces. But at the moment it does look the part, but we're in that category where it should look like that. It should look like a player's club coming in. It just depends how forgiving it is and what it feels like off the face. Is it powerful enough, or would I lose suddenly a significant distance in comparison to, say, the Stealth and that type of iron? Right, let's have a go, shall we? So just hit this one down there. And also you've got to take into account when you catch it really fat, like I've just done there, that's not really going to show that much. But those shots do count in regards to how far it's gone. So when I've caught that fat one, did it feel that forgiving? So every shot that you hit, if you hit a screamer down there, any club's going to feel good, and it's going to go potentially quite nicely. So as a testing one, that one where I've just called it fat, it did alright. So it's still carried. I know the mat's a bit more forgiving, but it's relatable. So if we do that with the Taylor, it's still relatable. We're hitting off the same surface. So that's carried 139 yards. So for a club that potentially you could feel you might lose distance from and forgiveness, it didn't on that particular occasion. So I'm going to hit 20 shots, so another 19 shots with this one, and then we've had a good run at it. I can give you a good amount of feedback, and then we can do the same with the Taylor and then have a quick comparison. Right, cool. Let's get stuck in, shall we? Right, that's the Mizuno done. So I've hit 22 shots down there in the end, just snuck in an extra couple. The performance was generally pretty good. I kept all the shots in there, every single one, so all the miss hits. I didn't just pick out all the nail shots down there. So being pretty honest with what shots I've hit with it. I've hit a few off the bottom, I've misstruck a couple, so a good combo really, and then you can see all the details in the screen there just below. So that's how the Mizuno fared there. So I haven't broke any distances there as such, but the look and the feel and the overall enjoyment of hitting the club was right up there. It does really look the part and gives you that confidence behind the ball that you really want to hit it and do well with the club. And it does show you and the feel of a miss hit, but not too punishing. So I think as a step from a big old cavity to a forged club, which is not anything too crazy, you'll still be able to cope with it, then the Mizuno Pro 225 gives a very good thumbs up. Right, so now let's see the difference between this and the TaylorMade Stealth. Let's get stuck in, shall we? Right, now over to the TaylorMade Stealth. So, obviously looks bigger behind the ball, which is what you'd expect. So the move from that cavity to the forged, there's going to be a significant difference in head size. So generally, the top leading edge on the Taylor looks thicker, it looks a lot more offset. Generally it does look like it's going to hit it a bit left. So I think if you do have a tendency to hook the ball, then I don't think this is probably going to be your club. So take that into account. If you're a bit of a slicer, then this is going to be your baby, I would say. So right, so we've got 2 degrees more extra loft on the club, so it should technically go a bit further. And that is the idea of this club, is to get some distance and forgiveness down there. I just want to see if there's a huge difference, like I said, so then you can look at that crossover between moving from one category to the next. So right, so as I said previously, I hit 20 balls, but I got a bit excited and ended up hitting 22. Let's go crazy and hit 22 with this one. Right, come on, let's go. Good start. Feels right off the face. Obviously not as nice as Mizuno, as what you expect. I hit that quite well, and it is pretty much flown almost the same distance. So the Mizuno went average 152, this is just flown 154. So that's where you need to hit a consistent number of shots, so you've got those bad shots in there to see if it's more forgiving. Can't just go on a good shot, you expect this one to go further. It's whether the benefit between how bad the bad shot feels and what effect it has on the shot. So I hit the other 21 down there, then you give you a full report. Right, that's the Taylor done and the Mizuno done, and you can see in the screen there's hardly any difference. So I kept all 22 shots in, and I did hit a couple of stinkers down there. I hit a few off the bottom of the Mizuno, as I said. The Taylor, I hit one right off the toe, I think I almost missed it, and then a couple off the bottom. So there was a good array of shots down there, some really good ones, and like I said, just quite a few, quite a few miss hits really. Got to keep them in, and there's no point just trying to put all the glory shots on the video. So you want a true reflection on the performance. So forgiveness wise, there's very little in it, to be honest, very little in it. There wasn't hardly any difference in distance in regards to a miss hit between the Taylor and the Mizuno. So in regards to making that jump from a big old sort of cavity as such, powerful club, and you're being a bit cautious to say go to the next category, and you strike the ball reasonably consistently, not nailing it every time, but that isn't necessarily your problem. It's more, say, something along the lines of controlling the direction of the ball. Then the Mizuno Pro 225 is definitely one to look at, 100%. It's good looking club, it's quite powerful, it's not ridiculous, so it will give you that extra bit of yardage compared to sometimes when you move into a forged category, you'll lose a tremendous amount of ball speed and distance, where I feel with the Mizuno you're not going to do that. The Taylor, if you hit the ball to the right, then the Taylor is a very good club in that respect, so that will help with your slice. It's certainly bigger than the Mizuno behind the club, so that will give you that look and confidence. So if you're definitely unsure, then the look behind the ball is definitely a big thing. So the Taylor was looked forgiving in that respect. but it's quite hard off the face. So I think the Taylor is quite a reasonable club. I wouldn't necessarily get too excited about it. It will certainly get it out there for you. It didn't do that for me, but it's got the potential to. So overall, I would say the Mizuno is a better club, and if you're unsure to move into that category, then I would say take a set of Mizunos out on the course, give them a go, and I think you'll be surprised. Any questions or comments, please send them through. Give us a good thumbs up, and I'll see you soon.